So you already, as you can see, what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to keep it brief. I got a lot of things lined up today, a lot of running that I need to do. So, um, came across an article that one of my fellow brethren was discussing, and it was a video uh, about China calling out the United States cooperation on human rights. And out of the blue, which is very, very new for me to even hear uh, um, representatives of a foreign nation like China to even be talking about human human rights violations, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do you all one even better. All right. So I'm going to play this video and I'm going to let you hear exactly what they said for themselves.
Discuss our deep concerns with actions by China, including in Xinjiang, United States, economic coercion toward our allies. Each of these actions threaten the rules-based order that maintains global stability. That's why they're not merely internal matters, and why we feel an obligation to raise these issues here today.
China is firmly opposed to U.S. interference in China's internal affairs. We have expressed our strong opposition to such interference. We'll take further actions in response to it. On human rights, we hope the United States will do better compromise. China has made steady progress in human rights, and the fact is that there are many problems in the United States which is a better part as itself as well. The United States is also considered as countries can't really force to keep things well until challenges take place. It is available to various countries to uphold so-called authoritarian states. Challenges facing the United States human rights are deep-seated economics, culture, and politics, such as our economic recently. So you have to defend economic liberties. It's important that the United States understands that it's important. Still, we believe that someone else is more.
Okay. So um, I actually got a snippet of this video from African Diaspora News Channel. And when look, I hope I hope black people really and truly don't get all, oh, wait a minute, is China acknowledging us? Don't get excited. All right. First and foremost, I find it quite amusing that China suddenly wants to magnify the inequality and the injustice that melanated people, men and women, collectively have endured, even before a lot of us were born into this shitload of nonsense. Um, Again, this is deeply rooted. It's nothing new, but the issue that I find in China suddenly wanting to address human rights violations in the U.S., uh, I find it very questionable because let us not forget that when the pandemic first kicked off, what happened over in China? Did we forget? Human rights were being violated even in China. And these same representatives knew about this. They knew about this. Were, were anyone held, was anyone held accountable? No. And furthermore, these same Asians, these same foreigners, truck themselves out to the motherland. All right. They pack up and they move out to Africa. Okay. Now, you you the foreigners move themselves out to Africa. That's that's always been melanated people's stomping ground. So, okay, but also you see exactly how they treat melanated people in their country, then migrate to various parts of Africa and still do the same thing. But furthermore, come into the US doing the same thing in melanated people's communities. You know, you come into our country. This is one thing that I really need a lot of Asians, a lot of foreigner, Asians to understand. You come into the country melanated people built and have yet to reap the real benefits of it. No give back, no recognition. And what I mean by recognition, I don't mean giving melanated people a holiday or putting Harriet Tubman on the face of a $20 bill. The hell you mean? That's that's not enough. We're talking about real reparations. We're talking about tangible reparations. We haven't gotten that, but I find it quite amusing that the Asians and a lot of foreigners can come into the country, receive receive funding, receive funding from this same government entity that most of us blood-born indigenous people who are born on this land in this country, we got to go through hell and high water. We got to jump through different loops and have different qualifications in order to receive the necessary funding that really and honestly is greatly supposed to be bestowed upon us. But again, I find it very, very, contradicting that China moves forward to even making the remarks that it's making about human rights violations. I don't know about you all, but me personally, I um, I find it funny. I really and truly do. I find it funny, amusing, and not trustworthy. You know, because for melanated people, we have been suckered for so long that most of us who are up in age, most of us who know how to peep game and just pay attention to the word play, most of us really sitting back and just like, no, I don't trust it. And I don't want I don't want any of my melanated people to feel that just because China is saying something remotely, how should I say it, interesting about human rights and melanated people in the same sentence. To me, yeah, that's overwhelming, but I'm not amused by it, because I understand talk is cheap. People talk a good fucking game, just like our politicians. They talk a good game, but when it's time to back your talk up with action, There is none. Not for, not for us. And I hate to say it, that even our own, even some of our own people would throw us under the bus. Even our own people would sit up there and do a lot of sweet talk and whatnot. And then when it's time to, come on through and get your hands dirty, they're nowhere to be found. So, again, that whole China calling out the US, again, it's funny to me. I'm not even, and when I say I'm not even the slightest bit amused, I'm really not the slightest bit amused. Let me play this one more time, and I'm gonna wrap this up.
John, Hong Kong, Taiwan, cyber attacks on the United States, economic coercion, or our allies. Each of these actions threaten the space border that maintains global stability.
Mm.
That's why we're not going to be neutral. We want to think about the nation. Let's raise these issues here today.
Mm. She hopes that the US will do better with human rights. I can tell you right now. I can tell you right now, people. Um, Human rights of people in this country, period, has been violated ever since people were born into this country. All right. So let me just elaborate something for you all real quick, and I really and truly want you all to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. So when you are born into the world, your parents are given a birth certificate. All right. Now, be mindful, in a lot of hospitals, it is a necessary, uh, they push for doctors and nurses to give birth certificates to the parents. Now, the birth certificate basically is like a registration form for your child. Now, you when you sign and when you fill out that birth certificate, what happens is you are now giving ownership and control over your child to the state which he or she is born in. So, in Black's Law Dictionary, if you look up the definition of what register means, you will see clearly for yourself that when you register something, you're giving ownership and possession of your persons, your property. This is why when you register your vehicle with the state, and say for instance, you don't keep insurance on your vehicle. When you're stopped by these overseers, what happens is they they can take your vehicle. All right. Now your driver's license, it can be all straight and everything, but your insurance, this is what happens in most cases. The state will take your vehicle. All right. They will pull your vehicle. Why? Because your vehicle is registered with the state. Now, if no one has ever told you that, you're hearing it here first. All right. But hopefully most of most people would have already came into awareness of it. But no different than when your child is born and a birth certificate is handed right to you. If you fill that out and you put your child's information, your signature, the husband, the mother's signature on that birth certificate and those footprints, guess what happens? Your child is now a ward of the state. This is where Child Protective Services comes in, and they can snatch your child up at any given moment. That's what the certificate, that birth certificate, is really about. Just registering. This is why people are paying taxes. This is why, you know, uh, a lot of people who are calling themselves citizens, this is how they end up getting wrapped up, and they end up getting screwed up, and then they have debt, they have debt that just accumulates. It's like human rights have been getting violated ever since birth, y'all. I mean, your rights, when you are born into the world, you are already free. You are already given, you are already born into the world with let me pronounce it correct. You are already born into the world with unalienable rights. I'm still working on that word, unalienable rights. All right. So what does that mean? You already had rights when at birth, but when that birth certificate was handed to your parents turned over in exchange for your natural God-given born rights when you first come into the world. Guess what happens? Your your natural rights are given up in exchange for rights and privileges in this country. So your your right to travel, you have a right to travel, whether it's on foot or your own your own automobile, your own automobile, not your vehicle, because there's a slightly different terminology between automobile and vehicle. So what else? Along with that, this is where government assistance comes in. You know, when you give up your unalienable rights, which is your rights freely to move upon this land, to travel, whether it's horse, motorcycle, automobile, drawn carriage. There's no such thing. Having a driver's license, no, no, because their rights and privileges wouldn't even apply to you if you were never given, if your parents never signed a birth certificate. So if you are a mother or a father and you're expecting a child, strongly suggest you refusing a birth certificate. Because if you really and truly want your child to be free from all of these taxations and being controlled and told what you can do and what you can't do, that's not real freedom, people. That's not freedom. That's like being incarcerated and being told when to get up, what to eat, what meds to take, when to go to sleep, what to read, what you can't read. I was like, that's not freedom. That's not freedom. And you know exactly what I mean, because there are certain things on social media that you can't even say because it's censored. There are certain things that you can't shed light on, even if the information is just mind blowing. And there's factual evidence to support this information. Guess what happens? You have social medias like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even YouTube that limits or censors exactly what you're saying. It happens every day. It happens every day. What other reason do you see why Louis Farrakhan, he's not, they censored him? But we're supposed to be free, right? Freedom of speech is part of your natural rights, that unalienable right. That's what it is. When you're limited to what you can say and what you can do, as long as you're not infringing on someone's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, then you should be able to say whatever the heck you want to say. Other people may get offended. I'm like, shoot, hey, melanated people have been offended for a very long time. And regardless of whether or not, oh, well, you didn't exist during the slavery times, it really doesn't matter, because a lot of the things that were going on during those times before you and I were even born, they're still going on today. The only difference is they have evolved to a more sinister, demonic type of action towards melanated people. I mean, our sisters want equality. We want equality. Plain and simple. But just going back to this video, this recording snip, I heard it, and I kind of laughed to myself, and I was just kind of blew them off, because again, China has the audacity to talk about human rights, but their own people violated the rights of melanated people uh, during the time of the pandemic. Now they're over in Africa doing the same thing. Of course, they've been here in the U.S. treating melanated women like shit. Whenever they come into their stores, they say things out of pocket to them. They attack them, and there's no accountability here. There are no consequences really being laid upon them, unless melanated men step in and make their presence known. For some reason, it seems like Asians kind of back down whenever we come into the presence. So that tells you something right there. They will pray and move in on melanated women, because they understand, like, shit, they're vulnerable. They don't know any better. We're going to attack them, and guess what happened? Oh, there's no black men around. We're just going to violate them and say whatever the heck we're going to say. So everybody else does it. No one really steps in. But also, in closing, we have to hold ourselves accountable. All right. So that means we have to stop doing business with them. We have to stop going into their stores. There's no such thing as, oh, why you gotta be like that? I was like, if you really think about it, the majority of the foods that they cook, they're not healthy. And a lot of times they don't even eat their own food that they're cooking for you. So let's not get this thing twisted. You may have a couple of Asian friends that are cool with you and whatnot, but you think for 1 minute they're going to turn their backs on their people, their family? A lot of times, no. But furthermore, there's one more thing I want you all to pay attention to, and that is, you notice how a lot of foreigners, they're just up and leaving China. My thing is, if your country is so great, then why are you leaving? That's what a communist country looks like. That's exactly what a communist country looks like. They have no real freedoms either. They're censoring a lot of their own people. No different than here. So again, thank you for chiming in. I greatly appreciate that. Most of all, continue. I greatly appreciate it. Continue to smash up the likes, leave your comments below, share. Follow me on Instagram. It is Complexionist. You see the banner, Complexionist, and most of all, check me out on Spotify, artist_of_truth. You can hear all of my content, and most of all, share. I greatly appreciate that. Share. Let me know exactly what you think and you feel. JC, I appreciate you, brother. That's JC, another brother that you most definitely need to check out his content. Three-headed monster, you know what I'm saying? JC, my brother, make sure you leave your link in the comment description below. We have to continue to support each other and empower each other, get the information out, open the minds of the people, have these open panel of discussions, because we have to learn from each other. No one is going to teach us best than us. So we have to learn how to develop a level of patience and understanding for one another, because we have no allies in this war. I repeat, we have no allies in this war. So in the meantime, in between time, I love you. If you haven't been told that today, you're hearing it from me. I love you. I appreciate you all. Again, share content, leave your comments below, smash up the likes. Until next time, peace and hair grease. And protect your peace, people, because that belongs to you. All right. I'll catch y'all later. Do, 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 do.